Fungus does not get enough respect. Animals get respect. Plants get respect. Even rocks get respect if they are shiny enough. But fungus? People usually think of mushrooms on pizza, mold on old bread, or something weird growing in the corner of a bathroom that everyone pretends not to see. But fungi are not just gross little growths. They are one of the most important life forms on Earth. They build forests, recycle dead things, help plants survive, make bread rise, create medicines, control insects, break down pollution, and sometimes grow into organisms so large they make blue whales look like snacks. Fungus is not background decoration. Fungus is one of the hidden systems running the planet. Let's start with what fungi actually are. Fungi are not plants. They do not make food from sunlight like plants do. They are also not animals. Even though, strangely, fungi are more closely related to animals than to plants, which means a mushroom is technically more like your weird cousin than a salad. Fungi get energy by absorbing nutrients from their surroundings. Some feed on dead material. Some live with plants. Some infect living things. Some are helpful. Some are dangerous. Some are delicious. Some are delicious and then very dangerous, which is poor communication. The mushroom you see above ground is only part of the fungus. It is basically the fruiting body, like an apple on a tree, except the tree is usually hidden underground. The main body of many fungi is made of thin threads called mycelium. Mycelium spreads through soil, wood, leaves, or whatever the fungus is growing in. It can form huge networks. Imagine tiny white threads exploring the world, digesting as they go, connecting things, and quietly doing business under your feet. That is mycelium, the underground internet, but slimier. One of fungi's biggest jobs is decomposition. When plants and animals die, something has to break them down. If nothing decomposed dead material, forests would eventually become giant piles of leaves, logs, bodies, and awkward silence. Fungi help prevent that. They break down tough materials, including wood. Wood contains lignin, a complex substance that many organisms struggle to digest. Fungi are some of the few life forms really good at breaking it apart. So when a tree falls in a forest, fungi eventually show up like, "Do not worry, we will turn this into nutrients." Very polite, very horrifying. Without decomposers like fungi, nutrients would get locked away in dead matter. Plants would struggle. Soil would change. Life would get messy fast. Fungi are nature's recycling department. The department smells weird, but it is essential. Now let's talk about fungal partnerships. Many plants live in close relationships with fungi around their roots. These are called mycorrhizal relationships. The fungus helps the plant absorb water and minerals, especially phosphorus. In return, the plant gives the fungus sugars made through photosynthesis. It is a trade deal. The plant says, "I have sunlight snacks." The fungus says, "I have underground minerals." Both sign the contract. No lawyers needed. This relationship is incredibly common. Many forests depend on it. Fungal networks can connect multiple plants underground. This has led some people to call it the wood wide web. That phrase is cute, but we should be careful. Trees are not literally sending emails. A tree is not underground typing. "Dear oak, please see attached nutrients." But fungi can help move resources and chemical signals through ecosystems. The underground world is far more connected than it looks from above. A forest is not just trees standing separately. It is a community tied together by roots, fungi, microbes, insects, water, and chemistry. Basically, a group project that actually works. Sometimes, fungi also changed human history. Yeast is a fungus, and yeast gives us bread. When yeast eats sugars, it produces carbon dioxide. Those gas bubbles make dough rise. So every fluffy loaf of bread is partly the result of tiny fungi eating and burping. Very elegant. Yeast also gives us beer and wine by fermentation. It turns sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. So fungus helped humans invent both sandwiches and bad decisions. A powerful legacy. Then there is medicine. Penicillin, one of the most famous antibiotics, came from a mold. Before antibiotics, bacterial infections could be much more deadly. A small cut, a tooth infection, or pneumonia could become life-threatening. The discovery of penicillin changed medicine dramatically. So yes, mold can ruin bread, but mold also helped save millions of lives. Fungus has range. Some fungi are also being studied for new medicines, enzymes, and useful chemicals. They are like tiny biochemical factories, producing compounds that can affect bacteria, plants, animals, and other fungi. Some of those compounds are poisons. Some are drugs. Some are both, depending on dose and context. Nature loves making things complicated. Now let's discuss the creepy side. Some fungi can control insects. The most famous examples are fungi like Ophiocordyceps, which infect certain insects, grow inside them, and influence their behavior. In some ants, the fungus can cause the ant to climb to a good location for the fungus to spread. Then the fungus grows from the ant's body and releases spores. This is deeply unsettling. Imagine getting infected by something that turns you into a delivery vehicle for its children. A fungus looks at an ant and says, "Congratulations, you are now public transportation." This is the kind of fact that sounds invented by a horror writer who skipped lunch. But it is real. Thankfully, fungi that control insects are specialized. There is no reason to think a random mushroom is planning to remote control humans. Probably. Fungi can also be dangerous to us. Some cause infections. Some produce toxins. Some mushrooms are deadly if eaten. This is why you should never eat wild mushrooms unless you absolutely know what you are doing. Mushrooms are not a casual guessing game. The difference between dinner and organ failure can be a small visual detail. That is bad user interface design. But fungi are not only scary, they may help solve human problems. Some fungi can break down pollutants. Researchers have studied fungi that digest oil, pesticides, plastics, and other waste materials. This is called mycoremediation. Basically using fungi to clean up environmental messes. Imagine humanity creates pollution, and fungus quietly says, "You made a disaster. I brought enzymes." Fungi are also being used to create materials. Mycelium can be grown into shapes and used for packaging, insulation, leather-like materials, and even building components. Instead of making everything from plastic, we might grow some things from fungus. A mushroom chair sounds ridiculous until it is real. Then it is still ridiculous, but useful. Now for one of the wildest facts. Some fungi can be enormous. In Oregon, there is a honey fungus network considered one of the largest living organisms on Earth. It spreads underground across a huge area. Most of it is hidden. You might walk above it and see a normal forest. But below your feet is one giant fungus, quietly occupying the land like it has a long-term lease. It is not a mushroom. It is a fungal empire. And yet, fungi are still mysterious. Scientists are constantly discovering new species and new abilities. There may be millions of fungal species, many still undescribed. They live in soil, forests, oceans, homes, bodies, extreme environments, and places we barely study. Fungi are everywhere. Not in a panic way, in a life is more connected than you thought way. Although sometimes also in a panic way, if it is on your bathroom ceiling. So, what is fungus, really? It is not just mushrooms. It is not just mold. It is not just the suspicious fuzz on old strawberries. Fungus is decomposition, partnership, medicine, food, fermentation, disease, ecology, materials, horror, hope. It is the quiet kingdom working underneath the visible world. Plants build with sunlight. Animals move and eat. Fungi connect, digest, transform, and recycle. They are the planet's hidden engineers. So the next time you see a mushroom, do not just think, "Oh, cute little umbrella." Think, that might be the visible tip of a huge underground network. A life form that can feed forests, rot trees, save humans, control insects, make bread, produce poison, clean pollution, and maybe become your future furniture. Fungus is weird. Fungus is powerful. Fungus is everywhere. And if life on Earth had a backstage crew, it would probably be wearing a mushroom hat.